Center, single back is Gibbs. Goff turn, gives it to Jameer, to the end zone, touchdown Detroit Lions. That's the way you make a statement on the road on Monday night to start a football game, straight down the field to the end zone. It is 2nd and goal from the 1. Goff out of the gun, hands it to Montgomery, tries the left side, did not get in. It's going to be 3rd and goal from inside the 1. There, they say he did get in. Late call. There it is. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Better late than never. Out of the gun. Jackson's got it. Running to his right. Wants to throw. Now being pressured. Ball's loose on the ground. It is recovered by Jackson, but it does not matter. That's Lions football. A 4th down stop by this team. Jackson tried to roll out, had a run-pass option, and Jack Campbell was there to knock that ball loose. That is a big-time stop by that defense. Lions show 4 across the front. There's the snap. Jackson back, looking right. Pressure comes. Jackson still looking. Stepping up. Gonna get hit. Gonna go down. Al-Quadin Mohammed got him. Goff out of the gun. Montgomery to his right. Jared's got it back and looking, throwing right side. Wants Amon-Ra. End zone. Got it. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. What a delivery that time by Goff, where only Amon-Ra with those late hands could pull it in. And the Lions are an extra point away from drawing even once again here in Baltimore. Jackson fakes the give to Henry, wants to throw, steps up, gonna get hit, gonna get spun down again. That's another sack by that Lions defense. That is Al-Quadin Mohammed for the 2nd time tonight. 96, that is big, man. Goff up under center, turns, gives, Amon-Ra flips it out to Gibbs. He's to the house, baby. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, that is beautiful. Goff hands it to Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra flips it to Gibbs, and the Lions have got the lead back. From the Lion 19, Jackson out of the gun. He's got it, wants to throw. Jackson looking, stepping up. Now he's going to get hit, going to go down. Sack back outside the 20-yard line. That football came out, but they're going to say he was down. That is another big play by that Lions defense. Trevor Nowaski with the sack. There's the snap. Jackson back. Jackson looking. Jackson stepping up, rolling to his right, being chased. Still looking. Now he's going to get hit. Going down. Taken down again by that Lions defense. Derek Barnes, I see.
All right, your Detroit Lions just lost a really, really messy game to the Kansas City Chiefs, but it was not without controversy. Go figure. In Kansas City, where the Chiefs have been known to get a lot of calls, or in this case, no calls all night long. Not one penalty for the Chiefs in tonight's game. Not one. How is that possible? It's not possible. It shouldn't be possible. And I'm calling bullshit. Absolute bullshit on this by the refs. Not only did the Kansas City Chiefs not get a penalty, but then they wipe off a touchdown to Jared Goff. And during the live stream tonight, we did discuss it a little bit. I did look up a few things. I went through the rule book and came to the conclusion that, well, it's 50-50, probably at best. Man, I'm just trying to get rid of something on the screen here. And there we go. It's 50-50 at best. Because unless Goff was under center, which he was not, he was standing behind center. He was not in a position of which he was taking center or acting as the quarterback, if you will, for lack of a better term. He never stopped for one full second like he was about to engage his quarterback or make a quarterback move. He just started He tapped the butt of the center and started going out in motion. According to the rules, if Goff was under center, then he would have had to have stopped before accepting the pass. So he would have had to have stopped at the top of his motion, lined up like a receiver, and then he would have been fine. But if the sticky part of the rule says that you have to be under center, right, and you have to be stopped, and that's the reason why you have to stop after going in motion, I don't agree. I don't agree with the call. Furthermore, on my Twitter right now, you will see this image on the same play. Give me just a second to get it dialed up because, of course, I don't have anything ready to go. You will see this image on the same play here where Kansas City was clearly offside or in the neutral zone. Okay, I guess it doesn't want to come up. So the question is, why were they not flagged, right? At a minimum, it should have been flagged. At a minimum, it should have been flagged. And I'm going to have to go back and look at the down and the distance. What was the down for the Lions? Because quite honestly, I don't remember now. I'll go through play-by-play here in just a second. All right, there we go. That's as good as I'm going to get right now. All right, take a look at the screen. Everything's in the wrong spot. I got to move everything around. All right, so if you're taking a look at the screen right now, right here, you're going to see, who is that? Number 95, Chris Jones. Hand is over the ball. Helmet is over the ball. Right? If you look straight down, hand and helmet is over the ball. That is a penalty. So where were the Lions? That's a neutral zone infraction. Where were the Lions on that initial touchdown? It was a 15-play drive, man. It was a monster drive. And it appears that the shotgun snap to Montgomery went to Montgomery. It was on 4th and goal. So that should have been wiped away. If they were going to wipe away the touchdown, they should have also called the penalty against Kansas City. That would have given the Lions at least one more shot, right? At least one more shot. Because if you're wiping away the touchdown and then you've got the penalty on top of it, it's replay 4th down. Because the Lions, if it's offsetting penalties, you're replaying 4th down. So if it's replay 4th down, then, which they were supposed to do anyway, the Lions took the penalty to delay a game and then it dropped them back too far. I don't think that they reset correctly. I think the refs botched it all up and then penalized the Lions one more time. And so now they weren't going to go for it again. Well, they were already backed up 5 yards, but they wouldn't have been backed up 5 yards. They would have been at the goal line. It would have been right where they were, 4th and goal, at the 1 yard line, not from the 5 or the 6, wherever they were lined up at. So that's to start the game. That's to start the game. That would have been one penalty for KC, but guess what? It would have been offsetting, so it probably wouldn't have counted. No penalties for Kansas City tonight. They had the offside there at the tail end of it, but since it was negated, it doesn't register. It doesn't register. A lot goes wrong in this game. Play calling for the Lions. Defensive play calling. I'm sorry, Calvin Shepard. Like I had mentioned, this was your opportunity to test your mettle, to show us how good you are. And as good as you have been, as good as this defense has played, this was a night that you could not get greedy. This was a night that you could not worry about turnovers. You couldn't worry about sacks. You couldn't worry about any of that. You needed to worry about Mahomes. Aiden Hutchinson. He had a critical penalty, giving them a first down, which gave them an opportunity to score their touchdown. Critical penalty. Wrong time. Had we not had that penalty, we have a chance to still stop them. And we have a chance to get downfield, get a TD, and this game could go either way. Do I agree that the penalty should have been called? Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. But he shouldn't have done it. Right? He shouldn't have done it. There's just too many little things that went wrong. And most importantly, it was the play calling on the defensive side of the football. If you go back and look at, some of the things that I highlighted in my keys to the game, let me show you another one, because these are the things that I said that were going to happen if we didn't stick to a game plan that made sense. As soon as I get it lined up here. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, yeah. That's definitely not working. Hold on. I don't know why it's not working, man. Tonight, everything is all screwed up. Every time I do a window capture, it, closes. And it shouldn't do that. That's an OBS thing. OBS had this stupid update this week, and man, is it all screwed up. But I got to show you these things, because these are the things that I notice when I do film review. And, of course, I would love you to subscribe to DetroitFootballJournal.com. DetroitFootballJournal.com. You can subscribe for free. That is where I put a lot of my keys, keys to the game and articles that I write, talking about these things, right? And talking about the things that I see that I'm hoping that the Lions don't do. Right? I'm hoping that they don't do these things, but these are the things that I see, prior to the game. And if I can see it, well, you better believe all these other guys that are way smarter than me can see it. My goodness. All right, let me slim this down a little bit. Brian Branch at the end of this game. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. We're going to go through the stats, even though the stats don't matter after a loss, because they are what they are. And we didn't play good enough. We didn't play good enough at all. This defense was atrocious. It was reminiscent of 2023 all over again. And it shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been, because we still had enough. We still had enough to be able to do the things that needed to get done to win this game. And I don't get it. Dan is smarter than this. Calvin should be smarter than this. I don't understand it. So, apologize about the screen here, but let's give it a ride. All right, so this is in my keys to the game, Detroit Football Journal here. So I put in a few keys here, a few plays, right? One of the things is, first thing that I said in my opening paragraph here, for Calvin Shepard to have successful game plan, ensuring that his guys understand the risk, reward in chasing turnovers. That's also supposed to say sacks, so you can't even see that. And sacks could just as easily give up a 40-yard strike, right? Against the Kansas City Chiefs, discipline and tackling may matter more than splash plays. And tonight we had shitty tackling, and we were constantly going for splash plays. So Kelsey, one of the things that Kelsey was doing tonight is mirrored in this play right here. You see that? He's right at the top of this. Here, let me go back. He's just going to sink out here, just in no man's land, even though they're in a light box, right? Just like we were tonight. The Jags were in a light box, and Kelsey's just going to sit down right there and make a play. And he's going to chew up 5-6 yards, except not only was he chewing up 5 or 6, he was getting another 4 or 5 on top of it with us. This is what the Chiefs do well. And I don't understand why we were not able to stop it. I mean, the Jags gave us the blueprint. DetroitFootballJournal.com. Check it out. It's free. It's free while it isn't. There's some things behind a paywall, but after about a week or so, you'll have the opportunity to look at everything else. Man, a lot of negativity tonight. I was not happy. I kept hearing things about pass rush. We need another pass rusher. Look, you can't pass rush against Mahomes. There's been no team. Okay, I say this. I say this with all due respect. I haven't even looked in the chat yet, but I say this with all due respect. If you think pass rush can win a game against Mahomes or Lamar Jackson, you don't watch film. You've never watched film, because we had success against Lamar Jackson because we tried to win naturally. And then in the tail end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter, when everybody was tired on their side, we started to amp it up a little bit because we didn't pass rush. We stayed at the right drop level of Lamar. We didn't go past him. And if you look at the film tonight, there was plenty of plays where we're getting way too far beyond Patrick Mahomes. And when Aiden is circling Patrick Mahomes and he's on the other hash mark by going all the way around, that just opened up this entire gap for Mahomes to step up in and extend the play, which you saw multiple times. He would extend the play, he would go horizontal, and he would dunk the football downfield. Can't do that. You cannot do that. You know, our defense was missing a lot of good sticky defenders tonight. Yeah, great. He had a strip sack tonight. That was a long play, right? But you cannot rush a quarterback that can get the ball off in under 2.6 seconds. Unless you're able to get to Mahomes in under 2.5 seconds, it's never going to work, because he's just going to get rid of it or he's going to take off. That's what he does. It's what Lamar does. The reason why it worked against Lamar, we didn't run the defense we ran against Lamar tonight. We didn't have man corners tonight. That's the thing. I don't know if a lot of people understand that. We played a lot of zone tonight. And when you don't have man corners that are sticky, well, that puts a lot of pressure back on the front four. Now you can't go 5 or 6, pass rush against Mahomes or Lamar. You have to realize that the stickiness of the corners is what's giving your pass rush time. None of our guys, not even Aiden, he doesn't get to the quarterback in under 2.5 seconds. Hardly ever has he ever done that. Right? But the most elite guys that have ever played this game, some of them can. Right? Myles Garrett's one of them, because he has elite get off with long arms, and he's extremely strong. And he throws tackles out of his way, sometimes 2 or 3 of them. Aiden has short arms, and when he gets going, he just can't get them off him. And he has to try to spin to try to get around him, and that takes him out of the play. That's taking time away from just rushing straight at a quarterback. Go look at the pass rushers that do it the best. They run straight at you. Right? From the wide 9, straight at you. In tight, straight at you. They're not doing all these little loop-de-loops like a ballerina. They're not taking themselves out of the play. So you need guys that can run straight at the quarterback. If you're trying to pass rush Mahomes, that's what you have to have. That strip sack was a great play. It also came when Aiden ran straight. If I remember correctly, he ran straight. He didn't do a little spin. Right? He didn't do that. But it's also few and far between that happens. The majority of Aiden's sacks come late. So if you need more pass rush, it's not on the other side. No, you need a guy that can run straight, that's bigger, stronger, faster, as your elite defensive end. So you need a truly another elite defensive end. That's what you would truly need. And that's never going to happen on this team. So we don't even need to talk about it because it'll never happen. It'll never happen because you can't afford it. You can't afford it. There's not one team out there that really can afford it. The only way you get elite defensive ends is if you get one in the first round. And I'm sorry, we win way too many football games by having the players that we have. It would have never made sense. What would have made sense tonight, if we had two sticky corners in the game, this game probably is way different. It's way different because you're able to do all of the things that you've been doing. And tonight it looked like they weren't sharp. It looked like they didn't get a lot of reps doing this. It just looked like a plan that was half-ass to me. It looked half-ass. TA, I just saw TA's name jump in there. TA was great against the run. He was great at stopping a lot of this stuff, in and around the line of scrimmage. He gave up one bad play a game, maybe one penalty a game, but you know what? 90% of his snaps were great. People just pick on him because of the one or two plays. TA would have been solid in this game. Amik was solid at times, but there was also times that he was not solid tonight. I have to digress to the film. But I will tell you what I saw tonight was a zone defense that was not in sync, a zone defense that didn't seem to have the right call. Jack Campbell was all over the place and did not seem like he had a clue on some plays as to what he was supposed to be doing. It just didn't look good. Our defense did not look good. You can't go from a top 10. I mean, right now we are a top 10 defense and then lose two or three guys that help you be a top 10 defense. Aiden is always depended on having coverage. At Michigan, he depended on it. In his best years with Detroit, he's had it, right? Or he's had it in those games. Every pass rusher depends on good sticky corners. Every single one. Big shout out to Jody Carithers. I apologize. I just saw that flash. Branch was obnoxious post game. I'm ashamed of him. We're supposed to be the bigger type of team. I'm appalled, and normally I like Branch. Look, Jody, I share the same sentiment. I think that what he did was stupid, and he's probably going to get suspended. And if he's not going to get suspended by the league, he might get suspended by Dan Campbell. We'll see what Dan does. We'll see if Dan is going to put the team before any player or if he's going to allow the player to be before the team. If I just don't understand. I mean, if someone's jawing at you, okay, let him jaw. You didn't need to swipe at him. You should have settled it on the field. I get it. It's in the heat of the moment. A lot of us have been there. A lot of us have done stupid stuff in the heat of the moment. But yeah, just like Nick P says, if Branch doesn't play next week, not good. Like we're in trouble. We're in trouble because we don't have DJ and we don't have Terrian right now. So for all the people that have been hating on Terrian, I bet you would have loved to have him tonight. Kansas City did exactly what I expected that they were going to do. They were going to play the quick game. They were going to get the ball out quick, and when they didn't get it out quick, Mahomes was going to be able to extend if we blitzed. And we blitzed. And every time we blitzed, we got picked apart. The run game was working at times, and then we go away from it. The pass game's working, and then we go away from it. I don't understand that crap out of John Morton. I really don't. It's the same kind of stuff that I would bang my head against the wall with Ben Johnson. It's like, it's working. What are you doing? We were getting the ball off way quicker. And then all of a sudden we're not. I don't understand. I don't understand. It's not a good game. It was not our best football, but it was not a good game either. See if I can find Dan Campbell's press conference. And the other thing that I want to mention tonight, so I'm sure we're going to have a lot of people saying that that Aiden Hutchinson was double teamed tonight, and that's why he couldn't do blah 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 XYZ. No, he wasn't. I watched him for probably half the game tonight, And I can guarantee on well over half the snaps, he was not double teamed. Where's the press conference? Does anybody see the press conference anywhere? Yeah, so Nick, I see your comment too. I thought we should have played man, but a shell over the top with the safeties, take the deeper throws away. So we don't have the man corners. We don't have them in. I mean, Amik is the only one. Amik is the only one that I would have let run man. You do a little bit of man, a little bit of zone, right? But we were going straight zone. We hardly ever had any man defense. And when we did do it, we got gashed. We got gashed almost every single time because we don't have the ponies on the outside. We don't. I don't care who we had out there. Rock Ya-Sin, he was getting beat left and right. We couldn't control Kelsey. The one thing we had to do is take away Kelsey. You take away Kelsey, and this is a much different game. Didn't take him away. You didn't bracket him. Didn't do anything. He should have been a point of emphasis. But it's similar to the Lions offense, right? You got Worthy. You got Hollywood Brown. You got Isaiah Pacheco out of the backfield. When he decides to wake up, he's a problem. He's a hard runner. Then you've got Kelsey. It's very similar to having St. Brown and Jamo and Laporta, right? Similar situation. Two high-powered offenses. Problem is their defense was healthy, and their defense came to play. Ours didn't. Ours did not. And again, I will say this definitively, that Calvin Shepard, when I go back and watch the tape, you'll get my opinion on it. I think that he was probably too aggressive tonight. And he did not, he wanted to stay true to his identity. You kept hearing that from Aaron Glenn, right? We're going to be who we are. We're going to do what we do. This is the identity of the team, and we're not going to change. Well, sometimes you don't have the right personnel, and you have to make adjustments for that. You can't get greedy. You're going to have to give up a little bit of what your identity is, because you need to do something different to make sure that you don't give up those big passes over the top. You need to do something different so you don't allow, Kelsey to have what? I don't know. How many yards did he have? 80? 80, 90, somewhere in that range. 78, 80 yards. You can't allow that. We allowed 3 guys. 4 guys had decent yardage, right? Noah Gray, one tight end, had 25. Travis Kelce had 78. So combined, their tight ends had over 100 yards tonight. Juju Smith-Schuster was carving us up like crazy in the beginning, and then it was Hollywood Brown later. Combined, they had over 100 yards. So over 200 yards passing to those 4 guys. We still allowed Rashard Smith and Xavier Worthy to pump on another 40, Kareem Hunt another 11, 257 passing yards tonight. Not good enough. Just not good enough. Jared Goff couldn't get the ball out to anyone. I mean, when you look at our receiving, there's only 5 guys that touch the ball when he typically is, getting the ball out to 6, 7 guys a night. Amon-Ra St. Brown was held to 45. That shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Goff was 23 of 29. And I thought that if he was, I have to pull that back open, but it's pretty close to what I thought he was going to be, somewhere in the 23 of 27, in that 265 range is what I was hoping that Goff was going to put up tonight. Didn't do it. I thought he'd have at least 3 TDs. Didn't do it. Well, they kind of did it. It got taken away. Yeah, exactly. Most of the corners are new. Hard to draw up different concepts to confuse Mahomes. Everything was basic in terms of coverage. Yeah, and that's why you can't run man. Man is the hardest defense to run. Zone is not. Zone is not as hard to run. It's just you have to know where your help is. And if you don't know where your help is, if you're not confident, like we saw tonight, some of the crossers, right? They had a trips bunch formation to the left, and it was Hollywood Brown that got all the way through to the other side clean for the touchdown. That shouldn't have happened. But in behind, in the middle, you saw Meek Robertson and Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch, all kind of jumbled together. No one picked them up. You have to know where your help is. You have to know who you're picking up. I don't know. Sky's not falling. No way. Sky's not. It's one game. It's one game, man. That's it. It's just one game. I'm less concerned. Like, you're not going to see me crash out or anything on it. I would never do that really anyway. What I try to do is I try to put together a good game plan throughout the week and try to talk about it throughout the week and hope that they're going to do the same thing. Out of every game this year, we've been pretty much in lockstep with what the defense was going to do and what the offense was going to do. Tonight, totally different. And their game plan didn't work. It fell apart. Not to say mine was any better, because who the hell knows, honestly. But it just, I thought that I was going to see something different out of Calvin Shepard tonight. I thought I was going to see something unique. I thought that he was going to play above, above what he did tonight, because tonight was bad. But you know what? Here's the other thing. I guess we can't always blame the defensive coordinator, because I can't blame Calvin Shepard for everything. I can blame Jack for missing his assignments tonight and missing tackles. The same thing for Brian Branch. The same thing for Kirby Joseph and Rock Ya-Sin. I mean, all of them had poor performances at time. Aiden Hutchinson had poor performances at time. I don't care about the sack. I don't care about the fumble. I don't. You know why? Because they marched right down the field on the next play for 19 yards. That's why. They got it right back. That's why sacks don't really do anything unless it's third or fourth down. And even then, third down, depending on where you are, they might be going for it. That's why I would rather see good, hard-nosed football just taking everything away, and you get the sacks when you can. We did not need a pressure. We needed a bottle. It's a big difference in philosophy. Go back and watch the Ravens tape, and I'll highlight it this week. I'll take some time. I'll do some cut-ups, and you'll see how Aiden, if my microphone is the quarterback, you would see how Aiden, whatever side he was on, he would get to the depth of the quarterback, and he wouldn't go deeper. Tonight, it was all the way around. All the way around the quarterback, and you got this giant hole over here, right? Whether it's, just pick a gap. Just pick one, because they're open. Pick whatever one you want. They are wide open tonight. Mahomes had everywhere to step up and make a throw. He had everywhere to step up and find a lane. And when you get wide on that arc and you open those up, that's what happens. The more you leak, the bigger the flood gets. It's that simple. Defense can be that simple. Nick P says, when Aiden has 2 more seasons left in Detroit, Aiden has 2 more seasons left in Detroit. I don't see Holmes paying that much for him. I wouldn't, but you'd have to tell the University of Michigan fans to take their fan out of it first and look at it objectively. That's hard to do. It's really hard to do, because he is a local favorite. You know what I mean? He's a good dude. He's a local guy. Like I said, he's a good dude. And for the most part, he really helps his team a lot. But then there's the games that he does some boneheaded stuff. And when he does the boneheaded stuff, it's over glorified, or it is glorified, I should say. It gets exacerbated because of what the other team does to us. And tonight's not Aiden's fault at all. Period. It's not. The whole defense played like shit. At times they made great plays, but largely they didn't. They did not play good enough. That's for sure. They did not play good enough. So when you see something like, 3 sacks and 2 TFLs, yeah, that looks great, right? But look at the score. So if we needed pass rush, if pass rush wins football games, we had 3 sacks and 2 TFLs, and the score's 30-17. We can throw in the ref problem in there, and yeah, that changes things. But those sacks did not help us win. What would have helped us win is playing to the level of the quarterback, doing exactly what we did against Lamar. But even without the sticky corners, you still could have done that at least. I think it would have taken away a lot. Tampa, yeah. So Michael Grass talking about Tampa. So Tampa's like really beat up. Really, really. They lost to Mecca Ibuka tonight. They don't have any of their receivers, Ridley or Evans. Most of the defensive line. I mean, they've lost a ton of players. They're in a very similar situation to us. And as far as Branch getting suspended, it was a slap to the helmet that caused a major brawl. That's the problem. I don't think it's the slap to the helmet that would get him suspended as much as what ensued after, right? That's the optics I think that the NFL is going to look at it from is, this just caused a major brawl. Has anyone seen the press conference? Here we go.
In the NFL.
And they just kept it.
Let's get the press conference in here.
Did not have a lot of answers for Patrick Mahomes. Let's see if head coach Dan Campbell has some answers. He's standing by the podium now.
Oh, that's not what we want up there, is it? Oh my goodness, look how big that is. It's not going to fit in there. Usually this stuff is all tidied up, but not today. Not today.
Now.
Let me start with this. I love Brian Branch, but what he did is inexcusable, and it's not going to be accepted here. It's not what we do. It's not what we're about. I apologize to Coach Reed and the Chiefs and and Schuster. That's not okay. That's not what we do here, and it's not going to be okay. He knows it. Our team knows it, and so that's not what we do. As far as the game,
it sounds like he's suspended no matter what.
Just didn't make the plays it needed to make. We were able to do some things good in phases at times, but not enough for a team like that. With
that's what I just said.
The way they play back at their house, we could not complement each other, and we weren't able to really make it a game. We really weren't. So that's really the story of the game.
What level of disappointment do you have overall?
Yeah, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed because it's been a long time since you're watching somebody kneel it 3 times in front of you, and it's not even close. You're down 2 scores. I mean, we got worked pretty good. So, yeah, it's disappointing. It's really disappointing.
How were they able to kind of take control of that game in the second half?
Well, I'd say, look, they got some things going. Really from the time that they came out at halftime, they were able to take it all the way down and, turn that into points, which, they did it at the end of the half, too. So they kind of got the twofer because we couldn't get points on the offensive side. And, and really we knew, more importantly, I felt like this was going to be a game that we were going to need to score 30 points at least, and we couldn't. That's to me is where more of this kind of came. We weren't able to get the points required, to give ourselves a chance here at the end of the game. And defensively, yeah, there's some things that we had opportunities there that we have to capitalize on. We got no takeaways, just a couple of things that showed up. But really, the offense, man, is, we knew we needed to show up here. We needed to show up, and we weren't able to do it. 17 is not enough. It's not enough. It's not close.
Speaking of the offense, very uncharacteristic for Saint to have a drop like that. So you called it nice. You had an opportunity. That seemed to be a big swing when they were able to go down and did there in the second half. Just uncharacteristic of Brian. Just how big of a moment did that end up being?
Yeah, I mean, but I go back to this. It does. Look, Saints made a ton of plays for us, and really what frustrates you more than anything is that, okay, then after that point, then, what's the next play we got to make to get ourselves back in it? That's where's it going to come from? We're going to get the takeaway on defense or special teams or offense when we get time to answer back. Can we go down and do something with it? And, we didn't convert. It was fourth down. It was a big play, but there's a number of plays. And I really felt like, speaking of the first half, there was 3 plays in there. We make any one of them, and the game is really a lot different in the first half. So, we didn't do it. We didn't do it.
Sorry, what 3 plays maybe come to mind for the Saint one?
Yeah.
2 others.
We had a couple of penalties that were big that hurt us at the wrong times, and that drop hurt. Those are. We get off the field on some of those on defense. So.
You said you got a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot more than usual, and they were using a lot of crossing patterns. Did they confuse your defense at all?
No, I wouldn't say that. I felt like, everything that they had really shown is what we had worked on. What they do a good job of is they create rubs, with those. And so it's one thing to know who you have, your responsibility. It's another to get through the trash, right? So they do a great job of it, and we just couldn't get through some of that stuff. And, we got picked a couple of times on those, and they executed. We didn't.
What explanation did you get from the refs on the golf touchdown overturned, and did you agree with the explanation?
It doesn't matter if I agree or disagree. It was.
Did they explain it suitably?
Doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. So I know it came from New York, and they said he never stopped. He stayed in motion. He can't stay in motion. That was that. So that had no bearing on the game. I mean, we lost by 13 points.
You go 15 plays, nearly 10 minutes on that first drive. Just where did the offense lose that consistency?
Yeah, I wish I could tell you right now without going back and watching the film. We had a pretty good flow going. Wanted to be able to run it out there. We broke some good runs, and but I know if you get a TFL or you get a no gain, and then you have an incompletion, and now you're 3rd and 10, and you don't. I mean, it's one thing to try to want to continue to get first downs, but if you can't even get in position to go for it and get first downs, that's tough, man. And we ended up in that boat about 3 different times, so that's hard. But like I say, we'll watch the film and we'll clean this stuff up, and we're going to have to. I mean, Tampa Bay's coming in; they're a good football team, so we're going to have to be ready. I mean, they're all good, and it's not going to get any easier. These only get harder and harder as you go, and they're more meaningful every game that we go. But, I go back to this. Maybe we needed this. Maybe we needed to get kicked around a little bit, because that's what happened.
You knew it was going to be tough. They were desperate. They needed the win. You were missing a bunch of defensive backs. Was it about as you anticipated? Is that why you tried a lot of, again, offensive things early on, controlling the ball for so long?
I mean, you feel like the offense is going to need to carry more of this load, That's the way I felt, just knowing where we were going into this game defensively, and so with that, then they've got to be able to do more for us, and we just weren't able to put up enough points. I mean, that's the bottom line.
A couple more guys looked severely hobbled after coming back in the game at times. Can you just explain
Well, I think if we have time to, if he gets some significant time off, I think this thing will calm down, But unfortunately, we don't have time. We just tried to calm it down as much as we could and get him out here to where he's ready to play. He felt good enough to play, and we gave him a go. And, I would like to say that once we get to the bye, this thing will calm down. That's what we believe. But we won't know until we do it, until it happens.
Sorry about that.
No, you're
Did
good.
the offensive performance surprise you in any way?
Surprised me? I guess I just I don't know if surprised me. We felt like we could do some things in the run game, and then we'd be able to open it up in the pass game. The only thing that surprised me, I thought we'd make more plays in some of these critical moments that we absolutely needed it. When the defense needed us, and we just couldn't quite get there. It was one of those just kind of odd days. It didn't go our way. It's one thing here, one thing there, one player here, one player there, or the call, or it's everybody, man. We all got a hand in this. So, and that's what happened. When you win, man, everybody's kind of doing their part, and everybody's complimenting each other. And when you don't, it's just, man, it's one thing here, one thing there, and we just can't quite overcome it with one of the other units. That's what happened.
Just forgetting about how the officials called it, do you have any second thoughts about that trick play down at the 1-yard line on 4th down?
You mean just whether I would not do it again?
Yeah, or try something different, or
No, we're trying to get in the end zone. He got in the end zone. I don't know what else to do. So, but yeah, I guess we could do something else to get in the end zone. But no, I don't second guess it, And there again, we had plenty of plays to make that we didn't make, We didn't even make it. We didn't do enough. We didn't do enough.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, you're
Didn't do enough. Didn't do enough. All right, so, Bees, I'm not arguing with you. I am agreeing with you to the point that if that's what the refs told Dan, that's bullshit. Because here's what New York can and cannot do, right? Number one, New York can only confirm or overturn the scoring aspect of the play. Did the ball break the plane? Was the player in bounds? Did he maintain control? They can identify reviewable infractions like 12 men on the field, too many players in the formation, clear and objective rule violations that are part of the reviewable criteria. That is all laid out in the NFLPA rules that I'm reading. What New York cannot do, they cannot make judgment calls on penalties like holding, pass interference, illegal motion, false start, personal fouls, unless a flagrant and clearly visible foul was visible, like a personal foul. So if they said that New York is the one that phoned it in, well, guess what? New York can't do that. And that's what makes me believe that the refs are full of shit. Because didn't you guys all see the huddle? And that's what I was watching when I was not watching the game, is that there was an image on Twitter where the refs were all huddled after the score. So they huddled and spoke about it, and then that's what refs can do, right? Here's the other rule. So if a ref calls, if a pre-snap penalty like illegal motion are, since they're not reviewable by New York, and they are officiated entirely by the on-field crew, so if the play ends in a touchdown, but the officials realize post-play that a player was illegally in motion before the snap, then they can confer on the field, determine the infraction occurred pre-snap, announce the penalty, and wipe away the touchdown. But New York can't do that. New York can only review if it was a score or not, basically. That's it. That is it. So now that I've explained it, that's what I'm trying to say is I didn't see or hear a call from New York, right, while we were watching the game. Like I said, the refs huddled and called it on the field. New York cannot call a penalty. They can't. That's not what Overwatch is for in this game. They're only supposed to review a score, and that's it. Half the time, we don't even hear from them. That's what I'm saying, is if that's what Dan just said, that's what New York that's what New York told the refs, because that's what the refs told him, right? That they told me it came from New York. Okay, it can't come from New York. They can't do that. According to the rules that I just read, they can't do that. They can't call a penalty for illegal motion and wipe out a touchdown. You called the touchdown on the field, ref. So now I have to say whether it was good or not. That's it. That's my only job. So something's afoot. I say we make a stink about it next week. But then again, Dan being Dan said that's not what lost us the game, right? Everything else lost us the game. I'm not sure, B's 9, that's what the announcers said. What? Be more clear so I know what you mean. The announcer said what? And I'll say it one more time. If the call came from New York, they cannot call a penalty. Can't do it. That is not what it is for. Yeah, I'm going to try to find something. I'm going to have to write a article up on this. Okay, so here is... Okay, let me ask you this, right? There was no flag on the field, right? It was a touchdown. They called it a touchdown. There was no flag on the field. Let's agree on that first before I go any further. No flag on the field, right? They called it a touchdown. Are we agreeing? Yes? Yes or no? We agree, yes or no? Agree, yes. Okay, perfect. All right, let's move forward. I just found the cheat sheet. Hold on. Hold the phone here. God, I hate the NFL some days. I hate having to do this because, us as Lions fans over the last 3 years, we haven't had to really worry a ton about the refs. But it's the Chiefs or it's the Packers, and it's always something with those two teams. All right, here's the cheat sheet from Mike Pereira. Johnston's NFL replay review cheat sheet for 2025, updated on September 5, 2025 at 5:53 p.m. Here is what penalties that replay can confirm through review or assist. The above penalties can also be challenged by coaches. Defense, too many men on the field. Offense, too many men on the field. Illegal forward handoff, illegal forward pass, illegal punt, illegal touching of a kick, illegal touching of a pass, landing zone, and kickoff out of bounds. That is it. That's all they can review. Now, this is why I asked that we agree on a flag. If there was a flag on the play, here's the flags that replay can pick up through assist review. Coaches can also challenge reviewable aspects of these penalties. Pass interference, too many men on the field, illegal forward handoff, illegal forward pass, illegal touching, kickoff out of bounds, landing zone, pass interference, defensive pass interference. Flags replay can pick up only through assist. Illegal downfield kick, illegal downfield player, roughing the passer, unnecessary roughness, Illegal contact, intentional grounding, tripping, face mask, unnecessary roughness. Well, here we go. Replay, booth jurisdiction only for a review. All try attempts, disqualifications, fourth down failure. Coach's challenge. Well, we don't even need to get into that because there was no challenge. I'm not even going to waste my time with that one. I rest my case, Your Honor. The NFL is full of shit. Sorry, excuse my language. This stuff just, you get sick of it. Like, there's the rules. There's the rules. And well, how does Dan Campbell not know those rules? Right? How's he not pissed off on the field saying you're wrong? Matter of fact, here's the rules. This is what he should have done. He should have the rules on the back of his board and say, here's the rules. Read it before you go any further. Read it. Read the rules. This is what you can do. This is what New York can do. You didn't throw a flag, so there's no penalty. See, did the KC coach ask for a review? I don't think so. If you're saying it came from New York, if New York called it in, that is New York's assist, right? So while they're reviewing the touchdown, the only way, I didn't see Andy Reid throw out a challenge flag, right? But then again, he couldn't challenge the refs not throwing a flag, right? He can't challenge a penalty that doesn't exist. He can't ask for a penalty. You know what I'm saying? Those are the rules, man. The rules are the rules. I don't get it. I don't get it. Yeah, and then KC, no penalties. Yep, yeah, throw that in there too. Well, I can see what I'm going to focus on this week. I'm definitely going to talk about it tomorrow morning. But ladies and gentlemen, it is 12:11 in the morning. Your Detroit Lions lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in a fashion that I thought was going to be possible if they did not show up and try to do something different this game. Hutch got a big penalty night tonight at the wrong time. It is uncharacteristic of Aiden Hutchinson, and he deserves no blame. I don't like some of his plays tonight. I don't like how he gets too deep on his rush. But that's not the total package of why this team lost tonight. Just about everybody looked out of sync. Just about everybody looked confused. And that's a bigger problem. Brian Branch, I have a feeling, as much as I love Brian Branch, I think that now we can definitively say that he is probably on the bubble of maintaining his ability to stay a Detroit Lion. And what I mean by that is, when his 4 years is up next year in 2026, he may not get renewed. And that would be stupid not to. But you could tell that Dan Campbell, like there's one thing that I'm sure, a lot of you have dealt with this or have it, or maybe you're this way as a parent. When you're disappointed, like you would never want to disappoint your mom, right? If you disappoint your mom, you'd rather have her mad at you than not disappointed. Like when you disappoint someone, that hurts. It's different. If someone's mad at you, that's to a lesser extent. Dan looked disappointed that he just had to go up on that stand and apologize to the league, to Andy Reid, to Juju Smith-Schuster, to the Chiefs, right? That's not going to sit well with him. And I would say that if Brian Branch is going to remain a Detroit Lion, there's a couple of things on his resume right now that are not looking good. And it's these critical penalties, right? It's getting ejected. There may be something to that next year as far as re-signing Brian Branch. I don't know how Branch is going to play any different. You know what I mean? Like that's just who he is. And I'm just throwing this out there to say that if there is a chance for the Lions to go out and sign someone and spend a boatload of money on something at some point, that could be the reason why. If they're not going to retain one of these players that they've identified as their core, right now Brian would be the only one out of their core that they have. Only because of the stupid penalties and the things that he does that are detractors from the team. And I'm not saying he's a bad dude. I'm not saying he's a bad football player. None of that. It's just sometimes you have to look at, what's good for everybody, not just one player. And if he's consistently not playing, if he's getting 15-yard penalties all the time because he's overly aggressive, he's getting fined, he's getting ejected, eventually that becomes too much to deal with because you need the rest of the guys that are out there fighting to win to not do that and then make it worse, right? If he's not falling in line with what the MO of the team is, then, at some point you have to make a decision. Look, I don't want Brian to go anywhere. I think he's a hell of a football player. I couldn't even imagine him not being on this team. But I'm just throwing it out there that Dan looked really disappointed. He looked really disappointed, man. And I would definitely not want him to be on another team. That's for sure. Yeah, I get sick of all the no calls, man. I really do. I am not gonna wanna watch this tape back. You're not gonna want to hear me after I watch it. But hopefully you are. Hopefully you're back this week. We'll get right back into it tomorrow morning. I got to get some rest so that I can talk in the morning. I'm gonna be exhausted. But y'all have a wonderful night. On to Tampa Bay. We got to pull one out. We got to pull one of these games out. And it's got to be next week. So you guys have a great night, man. Wish our Lions would have won tonight, but it didn't go our way. We just got to regroup. We got to get some guys healthy, and we got to get back at it. It's that simple. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Pressured by Hutchinson.